John, thanks for jumping on, man.
Thanks for having me, Mario.
All right, let's do this. So
Happy to be
we were
here. Let's
talking
go.
about this. Yeah, we were talking about this before. But really, what I wanted to do is just tell kind of your story before and the transformation through the coaching process in an effort that somebody that's listening to this can be inspired by uh, by by the tools and by the transformation. So just to kind of kick things off, can you just tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what led you to start the coaching process?
Absolutely. So, John Wasp, I reside just outside of DC in Maryland. Proud father of three. I'm 40 years old and I have a beautiful wife, three kids. And yeah, around 2020, when COVID hit, it really prompted a rediscovery personal for myself. And at that time, I signed up for my first Masogi, and then I crossed paths with Mario through Build Your Life Resume, which was a virtual forum that Jesse Isler put together with like-minded people where you came together, inspired, motivated, personal stories. And so that was pretty phenomenal. That was in 2021. And then I met Mario in the flesh in 2023 down in Rome, Georgia for the Running Man Festival. So that was great. That was like 7 months after a ruptured Achilles surgery, and that was my coming back to running moment. And I was able to assemble a 50K. But what drove me to Mario? So my focus is commercial real estate, investment sales, acquisition. When I turned 40, I was about a year into my own company, wearing a lot of different hats, trying to manage all the balls in the air. At the same time, I had different revenue streams on top of commercial real estate. So I was doing energy audits. I wanted to start my own running company, Raze, with a good friend of mine. So there's a lot going on. I just turned 40. I'm looking at my life. I'm looking at my kids' life, where I am in the process of becoming the best version of myself. And I came to the realization I have a lot of work. There's some things that are holding me back, for organizational constraints, and I just need to figure this out. And I've always had a lot of respect for Mario. I think our values lie in the same places. He's a proud father of girl dad, two beautiful girls. He's all about endurance and mastery. He's done ultra marathon and Ironman. He's always doing a Masogi every year, and he layers in, kind of like a spiritual aspect, but then a scientific aspect of understanding why you make decisions, in meshing those two together. And so I wanted to level up, wanted to become the best version of myself. And so 40 years old, new daughter coming into the world, Kinsey, I figured, it's go time. I respect Mario, so I want to learn from him. And he's an entrepreneur, and I wanted to be connected to another fellow entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah, thanks for that. And I think
Yeah.
I totally resonated with the part that you were at because you already had a couple of kids, then you were adding a third. You've
Yeah.
got a stressful job on top of it. You are really committed to training, and then you've also got this other business and passion that you wanted to start. So you mentioned just being at this point where you were juggling all of these different hats. Organization was like a struggle. Was there anything else that you feel like was something that you wanted to work on at the beginning before we got started?
Yeah, I wanted to get real clear on my vision and my goals, my mission. At the time, I was just, before I started my own company, I was leaving the oldest mechanical HVAC company in DC. I pivoted during COVID because they specialize in building and servicing life science facilities, and that was taking off in the wake of Operation Warp Speed. And so I wanted to do something where I felt like I was making an impact. And so bringing down carbon emissions, having people save money. That was, it felt right. And so at that time, that brought me to a time where I was like, okay, there's a better mousetrap. I want to create this app to help people do self audits, guiding them through facilities. But I don't have a tech background. And I was dedicating so much mental space to try to build out that technology. And I wasn't sure if it was my mission. I wasn't sure if it was
Mm.
my mission. And so before I signed up with Mario, you had me do a couple discovery exercises, and a couple that stood out. The 7-layer deep exercise, the Aikigawa exercise, and the Aikigawa exercise essentially like, what do I love? Where do my strengths lie? What can I get paid for? Um, and what does the world need? And so did those exercises, and I just started thinking about my life, thinking about, I would love somebody as being a business owner that I can bounce ideas off of. I
Hmm.
can look at, projects or tasks and break them down and figure out, am I allocating my time in the most effective and efficient manner? And just having like a counterpart, and you checked all those boxes. And so yeah, I've learned so much. We started out with doing my 5-year vision.
Yeah.
And so, that was monumental because, I look at 5 years. Right now I'm 40, and 5 years I'm 45. So my kids, my daughter Kinsey, who's, 6 months now, she'll be in kindergarten, 5 years old. My son Johnny will be in fifth grade, getting closer to high school. And my daughter Lucy will be in like third grade. So that really put time into perspective, and change starts now. And so that exercise was great because the way you tailored it, you wanted me to put my shoes in right as if I've already accomplished those 5 years. So me sitting down 5 years from now, looking back at my road, and what does it look like? Super visual. Wake up, sitting by a fireplace in my kitchen, taking an ice bath. It's a daily vitamin of mine. I love it. Walking with my wife, like everything, very detail oriented. And that was the basis. And I was like, okay, great. That's what I want. That's my vision. I can make it a reality. So then you went to do the 1 year, and then we did the 3 months. And I think the 3 months visioning and planning has really been effective. And so, one thing that I've learned, and I do now, is I do like my 3-month vision boards. And I know I did this with you,
Oh,
but
let's go.
I do it for everything, whether it's a race, whether it's a Masogi,
I
whether it's
love
a
that.
personal goal. But it's really, the affirmations, understanding what the finish line looks like, putting your heart and soul behind it, and making it easier to make every day count.
Yeah, that's it's so important. I think like one of the biggest things that I have learned is that clarity is essential. And anytime you're a business owner or an entrepreneur or a dad, anytime you're getting overwhelmed, it's usually because you don't have that clarity that you're looking for. And that's why I think that even just hearing you talk about it, once you have that clarity and you know where you want to go, it becomes really energizing because you
Yeah.
know kind of where you want to go and you can start to build the steps to get there. And so you've already mentioned a couple of different exercises that were helpful. Once we, kind of got into the coaching process, what were some of the other aspects of the coaching process or just the relationship that you felt like were helpful for you?
Well, from a relationship standpoint, you are really thoughtful in asking questions to reframe or change the perspective. And there was certain points where you would ask a question, and I would just think, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good question. I'm glad he mentioned that, and I'm thinking it from a different lens, and really just help get to the bottom layer of what I'm trying to do, and put together the game plan in like methodical steps. So just your questions was very, very big and helped me. And what was the other part of your question?
Yeah, just the anything else that you feel like was helpful from the coaching process.
Yeah, so then, I would say accountability. We talked about the 5-year plan, the 3-month vision and plan, but then it really goes down to weekly and daily. And so, weekly, there would be a Friday reflection, and, 3 strengths of the week, 3 things I learned about myself, 2 things I learned about others, 1 decision I made that has advanced towards like my life goals, or retracted towards my goals. Did I do something that I want to do the following week? And just being where my feet are, and it enhanced self-awareness. Um, it's helping me document my life, and days become weeks, weeks become months, months becomes years, and it's just so easy to forget the small things.
Hmm.
But there's so much beauty in the small things and in being cognizant and journaling and doing your weekly and your daily reflections. Um, you become in tune with yourself in the next layer of who you are. And so that's helped with confidence, mindset, improved problem solving, self awareness, and just being excited for the menial stuff in life because you attack and stack these little wins and they all add up and it leads to the bigger thing, which is for me, I'm trying to build this church, this cathedral of my life. And what does that cathedral look like? And I'm very visual and tangible. And so I try to draw parallels with everything I've worked with you. How does that fit into my cathedral? Whether it's the bricks, the stone, the basement, what part of the foundation, and it all kind of meshes together. And it started with the 5 year, 3 months, week, daily, then just habits.
It's so good. I'm smiling because I just get so excited about the same thing because once you understand where you're going, you work backwards. And when you connect the daily things that you're doing to that higher purpose, that's when it becomes so exciting. Where most people, get tired of the repetitive nature of some of the consistent things that you have to do on a daily basis to change. But when you actually recognize how those are leading to the bigger picture and connected to the purpose, it changes everything. So I'm smiling right now because I love hearing how big of a deal that was for you. So looking back at it, what are some of the results or just accomplishments that you're kind of like the most proud of over these past few months?
Yeah, I know early on you helped me with a commission. I had to have a conversation with one of my clients. It just helped alleviate some of those conversations that I would have had, within my own brain,
Yeah.
and get it out and kind of go back and forth. And so I got what I wanted for that. That propelled me to have more confidence and get more money on future deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's big and important.
Yeah, I remember that one because really what you were doing is setting the foundation for the future too, with any future deal that comes through. And that was a huge win. You kind of mentioned a few other things just around self-awareness, confidence. Like, is there anything that you feel like you're able to do now, or any like how would you describe where you're at now versus where you were maybe 6 months ago?
Yeah, I wake up with vitality and I am eager to eat the elephant, tackle the hardest thing on my plate that I don't want to do. I want to run, I want to explore, I want to adventure, but I got to pay the bills and I got to do these deals and I have to advance them. And if there's something, that I don't want to do, sometimes I can procrastinate, but I've gotten past that where I embrace it. And when I wake up, it's a new day, the sun has risen, I have high energy, I'm focused. Like now I just go for it.
That's awesome. And I just think that I'm just so excited to see you build Raze and build this running company. So
Yes.
can you start to talk about now that you have that vitality, you have the vision, you have the tools, what does the future look like for you? You can talk about Raze or
Yeah.
really anything. Like what do you want to go after next? What do you want to go after now?
Yes. So I love commercial real estate. I'm really good at it. I like the idea where you feel like an investigator, you're connecting dots, you're working with the zoning people for entitlement. There's just a lot of different things and you're quarterbacking it all and trying to unlock value. So I will always do that in the capacity. But, the Aikigawa exercise and just a lot of self-thought has made me realize that my passion, my true passion lies in running. And it's a gift that God gave me. And what do I like about running? I like how it transcends all different buckets of life, work, family, relationships, giving back. It makes me better at all those different things. And I love the community aspect. I go to these races and it doesn't matter if someone's, running their first 5K or walking or trying to run or they're going out for a personal best. Everyone has like a sparkle in their eye and they're there to do better, to push themselves forward and it's just positive energy that's contagious. And the reason I joined Build Your Life Resume, where I met you, is I'm a firm believer of surrounding yourself with people, expanders that you want to become like, or you want to take a nug of wisdom from them and incorporate it in your own life. And so running, pushing boundaries really taps into the endurance aspect, and we endure a lot in life. And so you want to be good at it. That's why I take
Mm,
ice baths regularly. It's like a mini Masogi. And so I was going to these events on the weekends as part of my training regiment. I'd sign up for a 10K here, half marathon there. And so I'd go to these events and I would see the community aspect. And then after going down to Rome, Georgia for Running Man, I was like, you know what? I want to start an event circuit. I want to use it as a vehicle to give back to the National Park Services, to clean up their rivers and their streams, to bring community together. I don't want it to just be like a traditional running event where you start, you finish, you get a medal, you're gone. I want it to be about a lifestyle, have a post race event, motivational speakers, ice bath village, just a community driven, fun to do good. So we're launching the DMV Race Series. It's 3 events here in DC. We're going to do 5K, 10K. It's going to be on beautiful trails along the Potomac River, very scenic. And then we're all going to have after parties for all of them. We're going to have lifestyle health sponsors, and it's going to be awesome. And then we want to do another event that's going to be more endurance focused, harder in Harpers Ferry or West Virginia. And we're thinking about having 3 legs, a running leg, a mountain biking leg, and then a paddleboarding leg. And you finish at sunset, on the peak of a mountain. You start in the valley, and each team you can enter it as a team where you have 3 people and each person runs a different leg, or you can have badass people like David Goggins probably that will run all 3 legs, and I'm going to try to
yes.
run all 3 legs. And then each team will have a Sherpa, and the Sherpa is going to be in charge of getting the team from one leg to the next. The mind, the planning, the organizer. It can be your 90-year-old grandmother. It can be someone that is in a wheelchair. It can be anybody, anybody. It's almost like the coxman of a rowboat.
Mm,
So the idea is just to bring together like-minded people to do good, and it's contagious. And I part of my rediscovery in 2020 was built behind, or what was igniting it was my desire to really become the best version of myself. And when I die one day, to feel like I put it all out there,
mm.
and creating a better legacy for the people that will follow in our footsteps. Your kids, my kids. So yeah, and
That's amazing. This is like my favorite part of the coaching process is going from vision to reality. And we've done that in the first few months with some of the vision and connecting that into the weekly and the daily routines. But I can't wait to see your running company and community be a reality and be at that event and just experience it. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So, last question, any piece of advice that you would have for somebody who's kind of at the beginning of where you were before you got started?
yeah, I would say honestly, embrace the journey. It's not easy, but you got to start. Where does your passion lie? Um, some people know their passion. Some people need to do some more self-exploring to understand what their passion is. But once you understand, what makes you happy, that you can get paid for, that makes you tick, that gives you vitality, that will
Mm,
help you give back to the world, lean into your nature and go for it. And embrace the suck, because all those small wins really add up and create your mosaic, something beautiful for your life. So be patient, count your blessings, and just go for it.
awesome.
Rip it
That's
and rip
such
it.
good. Yeah, grip it and rip it. I love that. That's amazing advice. And I just want to say thank you for being um for being such a great like client and friend and just a part of allowing me to be a part of your journey. It's been so fun to watch you grow through this process. And like I said, I can't wait to see what you're building with Raze and to be at those events. And so, for anybody who's listening to this and you're inspired and you'd like to make a similar transformation, you'd like to, get out of your own way, go for those big goals and the vision, go ahead and just book a call down below or send me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to talk to you guys. Thanks again, John.
One thing, what
Yeah.
I love about you is you genuinely want to help people, and it
Yeah.
gives you joy. And you've had the opportunity to work with all different walks of life, people aiming for different goals, different careers, and you are love to learn and read from philosophers. And so you're learning from all these people, and you're constantly getting better at your craft. And you genuinely want to help people, and that's the bottom line. So thank you for everything you've done for me.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.